told me I should fight back. They don't like that. Just know if you rock the boat, you better have a life raft. Woo!
What up, everybody in the YTBC? I'm going to go ahead and get into the topic of the video because I'm working with really limited time, and I've already tried recording this 2 times. So hopefully, 3rd time is a charm. So I'm going to go ahead and give my post-fight thoughts on Terrence Crawford versus Jeff Horn. First off, I do want to start by saying big shout out to Jeff Horn for giving a valiant effort and making no excuses after being handed the L. We see it all too many times where, you know, a fighter of great prestige, or if they're undefeated, when they finally take an L, they blame everybody. They blame their trainers, they blame the ref, they blame their arm being hurt, they blame their mama, they blame everybody. Jeff Horn didn't do any of that. He was a stand-up guy, and to be honest, given the fact that he was complaining leading up to the fight, was saying that he, you know, about the gym, you know, no air conditioning, saying he's not getting the respect that he deserves, and, you know, demanding that there's at least one Australian judge, things like that. I expected for him to come up with excuses, and he didn't. So big shout out to Jeff Horn. Much respect from me for doing that. And a big shout out to Terrence Crawford, and congratulations to him on becoming the new WBO welterweight champion of the world. It was a great fight. I think that Terrence Crawford showed that his power does carry up to 147 pounds, because we've seen the likes of like Danny Garcia. You know, his power obviously didn't carry up from 140 pounds. Robert Guerrero, I think, is a good example. He wasn't able to knock him down or anything. And even Paulie Malignaggi, he wasn't able to knock him down. He got a TKO, and that's the other thing. Paulie Malignaggi was old as well. But anyways, let me not get off topic. The bottom line is, I think Terrence Crawford really showed what he's made of. Now, in most cases, I'm against somebody moving up in weight and immediately getting a title shot. And a lot, I've had people say, well, they vacated their championship at the lower weight class so that they would move up and get a title shot at the next weight class. And I mean, I guess that has some logic to it, but I'm still not really a big fan of the idea. However, in Terrence Crawford's case, it's a little bit different, because when Danny Garcia did it, he was a champion at 140 pounds. When Terrence Crawford did it, he was the champion at 140 pounds. Now, yes, I know that, his undisputed reign was short-lived. IBF decided to strip him. Not long after that, he decided to move up, and history is made. So I can't be too mad at Terrence Crawford getting his shot at the WBO title, moving up. Now, where does Horn go from here? I think that he needs to go back to the drawing board. I think that he is young enough where he can still improve. And should he improve, maybe sometime later down the line, he may be able to get a rematch with Terrence Crawford. But as for right now, he really needs to focus on improving his skill set and taking on some competition that is more his speed at this time. Now, as for Terrence Crawford, well, Terrence Crawford, sky's the limit for him right now. He beat a guy that was physically bigger than him. Most people see Jeff Horn as the, second biggest welterweight in the division. A lot of people were talking about Crawford versus Spence. There was actually a debate done yesterday on Dan the Man's channel between Low Place and I forget the other gentleman's name. No disrespect to you. I just had never seen you before, and I hear Low Place's name get thrown around all the time. So please don't take that the wrong way. If you hear this video, I'm not saying you're a nobody. It's just I personally haven't come across you until I seen this debate. which I haven't even listened to in its entirety yet. I will listen to it throughout the rest of the day. I'm about halfway through it at this point in time. But anyways, this is a fight that's being talked about a lot. And in my opinion, I do think that Crawford is going to be able to beat Spence. Now, hear me out. The way that I see it, I do think that Crawford has a much better skill set than Errol Spence. And that's not to say that Errol Spence Jr. doesn't have a good skill set, but Terrence Crawford is just on another level. The other thing that you got to keep in mind is Errol Spence is tied up basically for the next 2 fights. Now, one fight is happening this weekend against a much lower competition. I'm not going to hold it against him because we all know what the IBF is all about. You don't handle your mandatories, they will strip your ass. So I'm not going to criticize him for his opponent this weekend. Now, Spence has said that the WBC has already promised him that he has first dibs on whoever wins between Porter and Garcia. Now, of course, that's assuming that Keith Thurman doesn't come back and take advantage of his emeritus status, or whatever they like to call it, which we know is highly unlikely. When he comes back, he's more than likely going to take some tune-ups. So, pretty much, Spence is tied up for the next 2 fights. All right? Terrence Crawford has just beaten arguably the weakest of the champions at this point in time, because we only have 2 champions, or aside from Horn, there's only 2 other champions: an inactive Keith Thurman and Errol Spence. As far as who would win between those 2 is completely opinion, just like what I'm saying about Crawford beating Spence is completely opinion. I think if Crawford were to fight Spence right now, that's a 50-50 fight. However, being that Spence is looking like he's tied up for the next 2 fights, that gives Crawford time to further acclimate to 147 pounds. Now let that sink in. Terrence Crawford is only going to get better. When Terrence Crawford fought Postol, he fought a lot more evasively. When he fought a bigger man in Jeff Horn, who damn near missed weight, had to be reweighed because he initially missed weight, he didn't really fight him all that evasively. Think about that. I think Terrence Crawford is actually getting better. And that, and Terrence Crawford isn't exactly the youngest fighter at this time, but he's not old either. So I think if Spence has any chance of beating Crawford, it would be now. Which I think he could. I think he could beat Crawford right now. Like I said, it's a 50-50 fight in my opinion. But if you let Terrence Crawford further acclimate to 147 pounds, he's going to be damn near impossible to beat. And that's just real. Now, as for Keith Thurman, we really have to wait and see. A lot of people are speculating that Keith Thurman has lost the hunger. And I have to admit, I can't help but to feel that way myself. And I'm a Keith Thurman fan. But I'm going to keep it real with you. I think he may have lost the hunger. So we have to wait and see what Keith Thurman looks like. First, we have to see who his opponent is going to be. Because depending on that opposition, it may not matter what he looks like against that opposition if it's too low. Now, if it's fairly good opposition, but he struggles, well then, I don't give him a chance against Spence or Crawford. But we have to wait and see how all this plays out. Loving the debates, loving the passion. Want to give a big shout out to Kingdom of Boxing. That's Kingdom of, spelled O-V, like Victor, Boxing. He's a fairly new channel. I think he said it best. Let's not all get carried away with the win over Jeff Horn. He's absolutely right. But I think given the situation that Crawford has, he definitely has the ability to become undisputed at 147 pounds. And this is coming from somebody who is a diehard Keith Thurman fan. To all my subscribers, anybody watching my videos, or you just so happen to stump on this video, let me know your thoughts on the fight, how you think it went, and what you think is going to happen in the welterweight division. Peace.
Undefeated.